I hate Pride Month. There. I said it. Not because I hate sunny weather or backyard barbecues. Believe me, I'll demolish a plate of ribs faster than any straight guy on the block. I hate June because every rainbow logo, every forced Yas Queen from coworkers who can't remember my birthday, every neon bead necklace shoved in my face reminds me that the world only remembers I'm gay when some marketing calendar tells them to. And the worst part? I'm supposed to feel grateful for the attention. Happy Pride, Alex. My boss chirps as I walk into the office kitchen, still half asleep, just trying to pour coffee. She waves a rainbow donut like a tiny edible flag. I muster a polite nod, because what else can I do? And bolt back to my cube where the only color I want to see is the blue light of my dual monitors. I've never understood why my love life needs a parade. I don't see straight people tossing confetti every time June rolls around. Maybe that's harsh. I know pride matters. Historic marches, legal battles, spilled so I can live openly with my partner, Ryan. I respect that. But respecting history isn't the same as wanting glitter in my coffee. Ryan gets it. He always has. We've been together almost a decade, and in that time we've built what most people would call a completely ordinary existence. Mortgage, 2 cars, a dog who chews our sneakers only on days we're running late. On weekends, we binge-watch sci-fi, grill steaks, argue about whether to plant tomatoes or jalapenos in the backyard planter. Shocking, I know. 2 dudes can actually discuss soil pH without lisping. Yet every June, acquaintances crawl out of the woodwork simply because they remember I'm their token gay friend. Suddenly, I'm expected to post heartfelt thank yous on YouTube or show up at brunch wearing a rainbow bow tie. If I don't, I'm labeled self-loathing. As if the only way to prove I'm comfortable in my skin is to plaster it with body glitter. So yes, I'm gay. And no, I'm not ashamed. But proud? Proud of what exactly? My chromosomes? The fact that I find men attractive? That's like being proud of having brown hair. It's just a detail, useful in a dating profile, irrelevant everywhere else. Of course, that attitude gets me side-eyed at LGBTQ mixers. Last year, Ryan dragged me to the Pride kickoff downtown. Within 10 minutes, a guy wearing leather harnesses and bunny ears asked why I wasn't dressed for battle. I told him my only battle that day was finding parking. He laughed, thought I was kidding. Ryan gave me the look that means stop scaring the locals. We lasted 20 minutes before sneaking off to the nearest taco truck. Back then, I assumed Ryan secretly enjoyed Pride while tolerating my cynicism. But last week, as the first rainbow banner sprouted across the city skyline, he set down his coffee mug and muttered, "Here we go again." The sign in his voice was heavier than usual, like he'd been carrying it alone for years. That surprised me. Ryan's usually the diplomat in our relationship, smoothing out my rough edges. If even he's showing cracks, maybe my contempt isn't just personal annoyance. Maybe there's something deeper, some unspoken fatigue we both share but never dare to admit. And that's where this story starts. With 2 normal guys who love each other, who've never needed confetti cannons to validate their existence, suddenly realizing that ignoring the rainbow glare doesn't mean the glare will ignore them. Pride Month is arriving like a freight train, and for the first time, I'm not sure we can outrun it. Every June, Ryan and I bargain. He endures one of my paint-drying hobby expos, think vintage tool swap meets, and I agree to attend exactly 1 Pride event. Show your face, grab some street corn, disappear before the glitter cannons fire. That's the deal. 2 summers ago, the compromise blew up spectacularly. Ryan had scrolled the Pride Week schedule and found something low-key, the Equality Fun Run and Family Festival. 3-mile jog, outdoor booths, kids area, free snow cones. Harmless, right? Family-friendly, he promised. No thumping club remixes at 8 a.m. Just joggers and strollers. Fine, I thought. Jog, smile, leave. When we arrived, the registration tent handed each participant a swag bag. Inside, water bottle, coupons, rainbow wristband, and an inflatable unicorn costume. Full body, battery-powered, pastel monstrosity. Mandatory for all runners, the volunteer chirped. It's how we break the Guinness World Record for largest unicorn stampede. I glanced at Ryan. He was already laughing. Absolutely not. I muttered. He raised an eyebrow. A deal's a deal. So 5 minutes later, I was waddling toward the start line inside a squeaky vinyl rainbow horse, tiny human legs poking out the bottom like sad chopsticks. My dignity stayed behind in the parking lot. The starting popped, and a sea of bobbing horns lurched forward. Kids squealed. Parents filmed. I tried to jog, but the suit's fan kept deflating, making the unicorn's head sag like it was slowly dying of existential despair. Half a mile in, I was drenched and swearing under my breath. Then the fan died completely. The costume deflated around me, sealing the armholes. I couldn't see. I couldn't breathe. I looked like a giant rainbow garbage bag rolling down the asphalt. Ryan, I wheezed. Help! Instead of helping, he doubled over laughing, then had the gall to snap photos. A volunteer finally ripped open the zipper, and I spilled onto the ground, looking like a half-birthed mythical creature. My knees were scraped, my pride obliterated, and the local news camera caught the entire escape. That night, the anchor introduced the clip with, "Not all unicorns gallop gracefully." For weeks, #unicorn faceplant trended on campus. Co-workers looped the clip in Teams chat. My mother mailed me the newspaper clipping with a sticky note. "At least you were wearing clean socks. Love, Mom." And Ryan? He turned one of the photos into a mouse pad that now sits on my desk, staring at me with dead vinyl eyes whenever I type status reports. That fiasco became exhibit whenever someone tries to convince me pride is just good fun. Fun for whom? The spectators? The marketing departments? Because it sure wasn't fun clawing my way out of a suffocating, inflatable carcass while children asked if the unicorn was okay. I know it's a silly story. People laugh every time I tell it. But for me, it's proof that Pride Month keeps dragging me into performances I never auditioned for. Some folks live for glitter and spectacle, and that's great. But some of us just want to love who we love and maybe grill a burger without being handed a rainbow tutu. So yeah, Inflatable Unicorn 0, Cynical Gay Man 1. Except the scoreboard doesn't feel like a victory when June rolls around and everyone still expects me to suit up, literally or metaphorically, for the next big show. After that fiasco, I had spent 2 straight weeks avoiding social media. My rant had gone viral. Not because it was profound, but because someone dubbed it overdramatic violin music and titled it Pride Parade Buzzkill. Even my co-workers brought it up. "Yo, that was you," one guy said at lunch. I thought it was an SNL skit. I was done, mortified, and somewhere in all the mortification, a part of me broke. I don't want to represent anything anymore, I told Ryan that day on the roof. I'm tired of being a walking commentary. He looked at me for a long moment, then said something I didn't expect. "Then stop." He handed me a beer. "Stop trying to carry all of it. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live, or love, or choose not to wave a flag. You're allowed to just be." That sentence stuck to my ribs like comfort food. You're allowed to just be. Later that evening, we sat on the fire escape. Ryan leaned into me, shoulder to shoulder, legs tangled. He kissed my cheek and said, "For what it's worth, I think you looked hot in that unicorn." I laughed, really laughed for the first time in weeks. And just like that, it wasn't about pride or shame anymore. It was about presence. About staying rooted in a world that keeps trying to either erase you or put you in a costume. And Ryan? He was the quiet anthem that kept me steady when the parade got too loud. When the messages started coming in, I was already halfway through a pint of coffee ice cream and mentally preparing to never leave the apartment again. Apparently, someone had taken a video of me tripping over a pride flag, then face-planting into a drag queen's foam-stuffed chest, and uploaded it with the title, "Mr. No Pride Goes Full Gay at Pride." It had gone viral on YouTube overnight. The comments? Not kind. Some people found it hilarious, sure, but others went for the jugular. Of course, the guy who hates pride is secretly obsessed. Internalized homophobia much. We don't claim him. By noon, I'd shut off my phone. By 2, I was spiraling. I didn't even hear my boyfriend come in until he sat down next to me on the couch, gently prying the now empty ice cream container from my fingers. "Hey," Ryan said. "Just that. Not. Why didn't you tell me? Not. You're blowing this out of proportion. Not even. So you tripped. Big deal. Just hey, and a hand on my knee. Solid. Present. I kept my gaze on the floor. You saw it. He nodded. Twice. You looked like a very confused penguin. I choked on a half laugh, half sob. I hate this. I know. He leaned in, pressing his forehead against mine. But I love you, and you're not alone in this. Ryan's eyes were so calm, so unshaken. Babe, you didn't commit a war crime. You tripped and landed. They were fabulous, he said without missing a beat. I cracked a real laugh then, and he smiled like he'd just defused a bomb. Maybe in some way he had. The next few days, I was a wreck. I avoided social media like the plague, flinched every time someone mentioned the video at work, and contemplated faking a long-term illness to avoid future pride parades. But Ryan? Ryan quietly reached out to my boss and asked if I could work from home for a few days. He picked up groceries without asking. He made me grilled cheese sandwiches and queued up my favorite sitcoms. He even gently offered, if you want to talk about why this got to you so bad, I'm here. And eventually I did. I told him everything. How I'd always felt like I was performing. How I didn't feel gay enough for the community. How I hated being looked at as a symbol when all I wanted was to live my life like anyone else. Quiet, respected, ordinary. I feel like I'm failing at being gay, I said, voice cracking. Like I'm too invisible 364 days a year, and then too embarrassing on the one day I'm supposed to show up. Ryan didn't try to fix it. He just listened, wrapping his arms around me and holding me like I wasn't broken, just bruised. You're not failing anything, he said finally. You're just being you. And honestly, that's brave in ways you don't even see. That night, for the first time in days, I slept without nightmares. And when I woke up, there was a sticky note on the bathroom mirror in Ryan's handwriting. Pride isn't a performance. It's permission to be exactly who you are. I kept that note. Still do. Because it wasn't pride or a parade or a rainbow flag that reminded me I was enough. It was Ryan, my quiet, steady, soft-spoken boyfriend. The man who held me together when the rest of the world was laughing. I don't think I ever told Ryan exactly how much his presence saved me that month. I didn't have to. He knew. Some people have this ability to step into the wreckage of someone else's life and just start sweeping the glass without asking for an explanation. That was Ryan. It was in the quiet things he did. The way he restocked my kitchen when he knew I hadn't been eating properly. The way he changed my ringtone to something light and ridiculous so I'd smile every time someone called. The way he stood in front of me, arms folded, when some loudmouthed stranger at a gas station muttered a slur under his breath. You good? Ryan had said, locking eyes with the guy. That was it. Just a question. But somehow it shook the air. The guy backed off. Ryan never raised his voice, never started fights. He just carried himself with this unshakable calm, like someone who knew exactly who he was and didn't need anyone else's approval. I envied that, more than I let on. There was one night in particular. I was lying on the couch, scrolling through social media and watching rainbow after rainbow roll by. Happy couples at Pride. Dudes in glitter shorts and crop tops, shouting their joy into the streets. I wasn't mad at them. I was mad at myself for feeling like I didn't belong, for not wanting to be seen, for still, after all these years, feeling like I had to explain myself. Ryan sat next to me, watching my eyes glaze over the feed. You know, he said, you don't have to be proud to be valid. I blinked. What? You don't owe anybody a parade. You don't have to wave a flag if you don't feel like it. Being gay doesn't have to be your whole thing. It's just part of who you are. And I love you for all the other parts, too. It hit me harder than I thought it would. Because that was it. That was the part no one ever said out loud. That you could just be gay. Not capital G gay with the glitter and the speeches and the rainbow cake. Just gay. Like having green eyes or being left-handed. Not something to hide. But not something to make into your whole existence either. I turned to look at him. What if I never want to go back to Pride? Then we don't, he said. Or we do it our way. Rent a cabin, play Scrabble, drink something strong and overpriced. Let the world do its thing while we do ours. He leaned over, kissed my temple. Whatever makes you feel human. We do that. There were moments I used to hate myself for needing someone like Ryan. For not being strong enough to stand alone. For letting the quiet kid who'd grown up dodging slurs in locker rooms become the man who flinched at the sight of rainbows. But that night, in the soft glow of the living room, Ryan's fingers laced in mine and the weight in my chest finally loosened. I realized needing someone wasn't weakness. It was human, and being loved, even when you didn't feel proud, was the kind of miracle no flag could ever capture.